Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of Agoracom in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about what's going on at their companies. With us today, happy to have him because that's so much going on with this company and the market's been loving him. Stephen McCauley, CEO of Empower Clinics, trades on the CSE under the stock symbol CBDT, and for our friends in the US on the QB under EPWCF, and for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under 8EC. Normally I go through all the data for the year, but all we got to know is that all the KPIs are doing nothing but going up since Q4 of 2019, visits, revenues, acquisitions, partnerships, you name it. And after an incredible December of news, we got Steve on so we can kind of recap everything, catch our breath a little bit because there's so much going on. Steve, welcome back live from Whistler.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your family, of course.
Yeah, likewise. And that's why you're talking to us from Whistler, which is great. The fact that you're on a bit of a family hiatus for a couple of days and you're tuning in shows, how much you love doing this and talking to everybody. You had an incredible December of news so far, right? And we're here on the 21st of December. But the stock really started coming to life in October and has now taken on a life of its own. So what is it that you think investors finally figured out about Empower?
Well, we have been working very hard. This is not kind of an overnight sensation here. We've been working so hard for a long time. And one of the things that I really focused on in second quarter, third quarter, leading into fourth quarter was making sure that we were figuring out how to drive liquidity in our stock. So we weren't getting a lot of price movement early on, but we started to really ramp up liquidity. And the other thing that we did is we worked very hard on getting our messaging for our future, our vision, our mission lined up. And I think what happened and what clicked with our investors and new investors is that our direction finally met the market where the market wants us to be. And I felt that we weren't doing a quality enough job previously in our communication style or a way we talked about our vision. And that disconnect had to be fixed. So we worked on that. We worked on a refresh of our brand. There's a new investor relations deck. There's a new corporate website. We're getting great feedback on that. And that'll carry us into the new year. And then there'll be more updates coming from there. And so I think the other thing, there's some technical, almost like limitations holding us back. And it was really more capital markets. And that was, there's kind of a bubble blocking our stock in and around 8 cents, 8.5, 9 cents, that kind of range.
Yep.
You looked out past that number. If we were able to kind of pierce through that bubble, then it was kind of smooth sailing. And that's exactly what happened to us just over 2 weeks ago. And we got a great pop through at that price point a couple of Fridays ago. We hit 14.5 cents, closed at 13. We woke up Monday morning that following week, the next trading day, and it went ballistic, and we were up 100, closed up 130% on the day, traded the better part of 100 million shares. And we went on that week. We're the number one traded stock on the CSE with just massive liquidity. And thankfully, that liquidity has stayed. And we're still seeing our average daily trades very high. Even our slower days are in the tens of millions. And so markets like liquidity, they like volatility. And I think that we're continuing to execute. And again, we're meeting the market where the market wants us to be.
Yeah, and look, and another way of looking at it too, just the more simple way for everyone at home is the market didn't know about everything was on the upswing since Q4. And there's always a lag like that, right? There's a lag. I mean, Warren Buffett became the richest man in the world from buying companies like Empower at 5 cents when he saw Q4, Q1, Q2, revenues climbing, and the market just didn't catch on. So I think finally people started doing their homework. And once they started doing the homework, they realized, hold on, we got a Six Sigma CEO here running a company in the health and wellness space, clinics. That's just taken off. We got to jump on this. So I'm glad to see that the market's kind of caught up to It's the expectation of the company. You put out 5 big pieces of news since the last time we spoke, and pretty much in the month of December. So I'm going to go in reverse chronological order because I'm going to save the best for last, which is the acquisition. But let's kind of go through them because there's partnerships in there, there's products in there, there's financing in there, everything that a great small cap needs to bake a great cake, right? That's all the ingredients. So let's start off with API Pharma first. That was in early December. Just give everyone a quick rundown, update of that again, and then where that's at.
Yeah, so we talk. API Pharma is a pharmaceutical company in the U.S. based in Florida. They are a producer of COVID tests, manufactured test kits, rapid antibody, rapid antigen, and these test kits are CE approved, FDA, EUA approved, and we actually helped support API submitting its Health Canada application for its rapid antigen test. And I'm personally the Canadian registered correspondent for that. And I can confirm that Health Canada has received that application and they provided me the official Health Canada application number. And I know there's a lot of dialogue going on with Dr. De Janeiro, who is the principal behind API Pharma. One thing I do want to touch on is I'm getting a lot of inquiries recently from interested investors and shareholders saying, hey, we can't see Kai Medical on the FDA, or I can't see API Pharma on the FDA, what's going on? What I'll do to support that. So the API test kits are not named API Pharma with the FDA. They're in fact called Horizon, something. So I think I'm going to put out maybe an email blast and point our followers to the exact right, information so we can tie that back together.
Right.
People should also know that as a Kai Medical Laboratory, as a certified, high complexity certified lab, is not governed by the FDA. In fact, it's regulated by CLIA. And so our novel assays that we're creating to run our PCR test or run our new saliva test or run the new Kai ABC PCR test, we don't have to submit those to the FDA. We have to document them and have them available for audit by CLIA. It's proprietary information, and we might partner with an FDA certified COVID testing kit with our processing assay, and the two come together. So we're not likely to see Kai Medical Laboratory registered with the FDA for
right.
COVID-19 test kit. It just doesn't work that way. So generally speaking, things are going very well with API. They're also going to be helping us with the packaging of our new Kai Medical saliva test kits. So there's a really good partnership there that goes beyond just one or two test kits. And we're currently selling our API rapid antibody, rapid antigen test through Kai Medical Laboratory and also through Sun Valley Health as well out of Arizona.
And I know it's early, but how are sales going? And more, it's not the number yet, but it's more how's consumer acceptance? How's the customer acceptance of the product in the early going?
And in fact, I was looking at numbers from the lab a little bit earlier today. I get a weekly update on volumes, and we're just continuing to see weekly numbers jump significantly. Like the week over week is just getting bigger. The month over month is substantially larger, and we're getting, it's almost anecdotal, but the walk-up traffic at the medical laboratory, there's cars around the parking lot, trying to come in to get their tests done.
Man, you guys got to grab some video of that and post on Agoracom for everyone to see.
Yeah,
that would be pretty powerful to see that.
Yeah, and so sadly, the cases throughout the United States are, continue to be extremely high, and the requirements for testing certainly are very strong consumer demand, but we're also seeing more and more businesses of all sorts, private enterprise, public enterprise, recognizing that they have a responsibility to their employee base to provide testing. And it is not connected to the concept of having a vaccine starting to come to market or not. We're not going to be anywhere near herd immunity, if ever, because you need to be 60 or 70% of the population to be fully vaccinated to even have the principles of herd immunity taking place.
Sure.
And anecdotally, in Canada, we can barely get 20% of our population to do a flu shot each year. The chances of us getting there are probably fairly low. And there is not a direct correlation between vaccine counts going up and tests going down. That is not the case. Society can't get back to travel, can't get back to work, can't stay at work unless there are testing protocols and contact tracing protocols that are partnered up and working together to solve enterprise problems. So our test, we're bullish on testing demand going forward in the years ahead, not the weeks and months, but years ahead. And we're continuing to look for other accretive lab acquisitions, both in the US and now in Canada, by virtue of our recent announcement about our Momentum Health acquisition of medical clinics.
Should I be inferring from that, and tell me if I'm wrong inferring, but should I be inferring from that, if you're looking for other accretive acquisitions of other labs around the country and maybe even Canada, that KAI, you can foresee the day when KAI kind of reaches capacity or close to capacity, and that you'll need that on standby? You don't want to just scramble for it.
Yeah, so I think it's twofold. It's that anticipating that that's coming and trying to get ahead of it. What I don't want to be, I don't want to be in a position where we've maxed out on our capacity at KAI, and then we're scrambling to try to figure out how to cover that capacity, and we're losing accretive revenue opportunities.
Yeah.
So we are looking, and then the second piece of that is geography. KAI Medical is located in Dallas, Texas. It's on Central Time Zone. It's somewhat south. I need to start looking at West Coast opportunities, East Coast opportunities, in order to have disbursement of demand that's coming. So, and we do know that, particularly in Southern California, there's such a high demand for our film and television productions. I know that if we could find the right opportunity at the right valuation and deal structure, we could keep that capacity levels high because of our experience already with film and television, and being able to have very fast turnaround times because of a local presence would seem to make sense for me.
But devil's advocate, would it be far more expensive now to acquire labs like that because demand supposedly is high, or do a lot of those, does George's lab in Los Angeles not have the marketing, the kind of partnerships you have to keep busy and maybe more willing to sell at a more reasonable price?
Yeah, I think there is something there. I mean, you're going to have situations where maybe a transaction on the surface might be okay, but we're not going to overpay. Let's put it that way. It's not my approach. We will work as hard as we need to work to find the appropriate opportunity or opportunities. We'll always endeavor to put the best deal structure together possible. We have much more leverage where we are right now. We've got a market cap that's going to be approaching $100 million, and we have, thankfully,
currency. Your stock is now currency.
Well, we've got the currency, the stock at a strong valuation, but we've also got a lot of cash, and so it gives me the ability to really navigate some very good deal structures. I'm in a much stronger position of negotiating transactions than ever before. So I want to make sure for all of our shareholders that I'm recognizing that I've got that responsibility, and the entire team does, to deliver more continued accretive acquisitions to really build the scale of this company for the future and for larger markets in the future.
The KAI saliva test, I'm not sure if that was kind of covered with what you said earlier, but it did. I'm going to read it here. KAI will be launching an FDA-approved at-home work saliva COVID-19 RT-PCR test, a saliva test, on December 15th. Has that launched? And I know it's only 6 days, so there's no way we're going to ask for. But what I will ask for is, what are you going to do about distribution? What's your marketing plan to make that a success?
You bet. So there's a number of things. So yeah, the program has launched. Our first shipments are all internal through to our Sun Valley partners, so that we can work the bugs out on our distribution plans. We are working on upgraded packaging. We're doing a brand refresh right now for Kai Medical as well in support of where that's going. We have existing clients, the film and television clients, other commercial clients that are all switching to the new saliva PCR test because the format of specimen collection is so less intrusive.
Yeah.
And you don't need a med tech or a technical party to administer the specimen collection. So there's going to be a lot of benefits to this. There's a lot of shift. We also secured a domain called kaitests.com. We're building out an e-commerce website for our at-home test products, and we will continue to add to those products in the future. So you think of female health, male health, a variety of at-home laboratory-based tests that can be completed. We'll add those in time as well, but our biggest demand right now will be for our various COVID-19 tests that can be sent to a home, sent to a place of business, sent to a hospital or a care home for self-administration of the specimen, our self-collection of the specimen, and then sent back to Kai Medical Laboratory for processing.
And that's just in the United States, correct?
That's just in the United States at this time. That's correct.
All right, and that's a massive market anyway. So yeah, I can't wait to see how you guys do when you guys apply your marketing tactics, your CRM, and all that, because I think that's going to be a big success. And people are already at home trying to do. I can feel them doing back of the napkin math. He was looking for the labs, and Kai Saliva is just going, and I can see the numbers just churning now. It's crazy. One thing that's going to potentially take up capacity or have you looking for other accretive labs around the country is our partnerships. And the one I'm talking about specifically in reverse chronological is the partnership with Simply Flying and Loop Insights, the travel bubble, almost a little mini consortium that you put together. Yeah. I mean, that was incredibly exciting because Simply Flying, look, we know who Empower is. We know who Loop Insights has been with. And then you add Simply Flying in there, which looks like the #1 consultant to aviation companies around the world. And that has success written all over it. Where are you guys at with that? Because we're hearing more and more in the news that certain airports, certain airlines, everyone's starting to get something done. Where are you guys at?
Yeah, so I think I want to touch on Loop Insights first. The team over Rob Anson, their CEO, and I have become very good colleagues. We're in communication literally every day, and we are working on completing an API with the Loop Insights system. So this is connecting the Kai Medical Laboratory. It's called an LIS system, Laboratory Information System, that sends out the test results to the patient, to the consumer. We are connecting through API directly to Loop Insights to advance these partnerships that we can do with Loop, so that we can streamline the either negative results or the positive result directly to the back end wallet technology of Loop Insights.
And boom, it's right there on my phone.
And it's now in the wallet pass of the user, so that when they go to do a check-in, their negative result shows up in their check-in wallet pass, and they can proceed through that door, whatever that door might be. So that's very important for us. Adding in Simply Flying really brings us into this travel bubble scenario. So we're together, the three of us are working on connecting the airline relationships, connecting it to tourism, connecting to events, where we can all work together in the supply chain to get people traveling, to work to eliminate 14-day quarantine for us Canadians, keep people safe all the way along. So you need the operational expertise of how airlines and cruise ships and tourism work. You need the technical capability and AI of Loop Insights, and you need testing, and you need a variety of
those labs.
So I need to be able to provide at-home saliva-based PCR tests. We need to be able to provide rapid antibody tests, rapid antigen tests, and be utilized in different parts of the supply chain in these types of travel tourism bubbles. So having kind of the tripartite relationship, really makes sense because we're complementary. There's no conflict between what each party's specialty is. So all of these have been really important partnerships to nurture, put MOUs together, and start the conversations with these large, partnerships that are potentially out there for us going into 2021.
Is there a consortium out there that's stronger than the three of you right now? Empower, Loop, and Simply Flying to kind of tie that all together. Is any that seems like a really formidable solution at the end of the day?
Well, it does, and to answer your question directly, I don't think so. There are a variety of different types of solutions potentially coming to market, whether there's some mobile app versions. But I got to tell you, in the analysis that we've done, knowing the technical capability of Loop Insights, what their developers have done, the IT stack that they have built, I think it's best in class worldwide. I think that we are really positioning ourselves through Kai Medical Laboratory, not just as a lab that does testing, but we're really a R&D group, we're a product development group, and they are really doing some tremendous work in bringing novel new solutions in the testing game to market. That's something that, as we were going through the due diligence and acquisition of Kai, that we really noticed. They had the specimen testing capabilities and the machinery and the scientists, but boy, did they ever have some great strength with product development and R&D. And credit to Yoshi Tyler, the president of Kai Medical, for really driving home the long-term importance of those types of initiatives beyond just doing specimen testing. Having Simply Flying opens up that travel tourism piece of it. Our partnership with Loop Insights is probably broader reaching because it goes across virtually every industry that's out there. So we'll probably see different types of announcements coming forward with ourselves and Loop Insights.
I would presume that any kind of conversations you're having would be, under NDA things. So I won't ask you about specifics, but can you give us a general indication of how discussions or things may be going with different parties, whether it's airlines, airports, cruise, anybody in the travel hospitality space? Are you satisfied with the kind of conversations you've started to enter, if maybe you've entered any at all? Because I can't assume you have.
Well, there are numerous large conversations going on. There are small opportunity conversations going on, and so I can't give guidance on that right now. But I can tell you that on behalf of Empower and our team of business development folks, whether it's Dustin Klein, who heads up our business development for the company, and he's a director, or it's Yoshi Tyler, or it's the efforts that I'm working on each day, and our other team members, we are dividing and conquering. There's a lot of major conversations going on. I know that Rob Anson and his team at Loop Insights are having numerous conversations as well. And Rob and Loop and Empower and I are having numerous joint conversations together.
All right. So I think you answered better than I expected. I didn't. But good to know. Good, because there is a sense of urgency out there.
We're not backing off. If that, that's the one thing I want everybody to know, is that we understand the responsibility. We understand the importance of this time, and we cannot let off the gas here. We've got to keep our positive, push going forward, so that we come into 2021 with continued strength and momentum. With all these various opportunities.
Oh yeah, and I think that was probably assumed by everybody, but just good to hear that there are a number of great discussions that are already underway. That's perfect. One great beneficiary of the stock price appreciating so rapidly with big volume and great volumes is your bank account, because you announced that you received about approximately $5.5 million in cash right into the account as a result of warrant exercises. First of all, I mean, you took the company over back in January of 2019 when it was a wreck, and they called you in to save the day. And by the way, you have, and then some, but you've never had. Here's a scary part: you've never had 7 digits sitting in a bank account for you to deploy in your, in the great ways you deploy things. How does it feel, A, to have that as a cushion, and B, what kind of plans do you have up your sleeve for, how to properly deploy that money? You're not going to throw it away. We know that, to really maximize the company in 2021.
Well, it is a great byproduct of the liquidity, the volume, and price movement that we finally picked up, and we had just really like a fire hose of inquiries, of conversions, and I can tell you that 5.5 that we talked about is now in excess of 6.8 million.
Wow.
And continuing. So I'll update the market probably next week, after the Christmas holidays, before New Year's, when we get in the last trading days of the year. I think that our followers, deserve to know kind of where that's settling in. So it obviously changes a lot of things. It changes our decision making. It changes how aggressive we can be on growth initiatives. It changes the ability to refresh a brand, to put resources into updating Kai Medical, paying for packaging, doing R&D, providing more funds for sales and marketing initiatives to drive more traffic through our COVID-19 testing programs. It simplified anything that would have been needed to push forward with our Momentum Health Medical Clinic acquisition, and it allows me to accelerate the rollout initiatives that are planned to come behind it. We are going to be as conservative as ever with the funds. It's not a free for all. Every financial decision needs to be looked at closely. I'm still a tough negotiator on all things. And because I feel it is my responsibility as a fiduciary responsibility to our shareholders, to my board colleagues, that we manage this responsibility with as much discipline, foresight, and analysis. We cannot be frivolous with this. And markets change. You never know. Things can happen. So you have to just remember that. But it will give me the ability to be potentially more creative, more aggressive. We got a much bigger market cap. We've got a much bigger balance sheet. It's time to use it and really accelerate our growth.
Yeah. Do you have a wish list? Maybe your top 2 or 3, not necessarily in order. You don't have to rank them, but if you had to start deploying, because we all, like, as entrepreneurs, look, I run a Agoracom, and we got some financial resources, great, but you always think about, if I had this resource or that resource, this is what I would attack. Do you have do you have a couple of things on your wish list that you're saying, okay, now we've got 6.8 million, here are the couple of things I want to do to strengthen this company that I maybe couldn't do 3-4 months ago?
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, in no particular priority order, but here's some of the things that are happening. One, we have already provided additional capital support to Kai Medical Laboratory to accelerate their initiatives, make them move faster, build out an e-commerce platform that they don't have, at www.kaitest.com, and then market and advertise Facebook ads, Instagram ads, radio spots, whatever would be necessary to drive eyeballs to that site. So that site is a placeholder right now, coming soon, but we are just quickly doing that branding and building. So that's one that comes to mind. Providing more advertising dollars and support to Sun Valley in Arizona to help them drive more specimen collection and traffic through their network. Adding business development resources, Momentum Health acquisition that's just coming on board right now. This gives us flexibility to speed to market, accelerate our clinic rollouts that I've been alluding to. You know, we're not stopping at just the acquisition. We've got a pipeline that's getting very deep, but that takes resources. You've got to, you know, we've got to hire team members, we've got to market, we've got a brand, we've got to open new locations, we've got tenants improvements, but all of that additional access to capital gets us into market at a broader scale, getting greater access to patients, knowing that direct access to patients is a direct correlation to future revenues.
Yeah, I was about to say that. What I love about all these initiatives is they all have an ROI. They're
absolutely.
You're going to spend $1 to make, you know, if you're doing great marketing, you're going to spend $1 to make $2.50 back. You know?
Correct. And the demand is there, so we cannot sit idly by. We are in a position where, you know, we're going to have, you know, we have greater access, we have more scale than others now. So it will be a shame for us not to utilize it correctly and swiftly. Obviously, thoughtful decisions, not frivolous decisions, but it allows us to be aggressive. I alluded to the fact that I'm, you know, looking at other lab opportunities. Well, having this capital already in place allows me to do that. I don't have to go to market to further dilute in order to land some other, you know, accretive acquisition. We've got some flexibility now in ways that we just simply didn't have 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you can do, because after we talk about the last thing, Momentum Health, I want to talk about you for about a minute and a half, because a lot of people don't know your background, all the new investors that we're grateful that they're all here, but I want them to really understand the leader at the helm who can use this money wisely, because he's done it. You're trained to do it. You've done it. And you brought Empower here on a shoestring budget. So I can't imagine what you're going to do in 2021. The last question is Momentum Health, because that was the most recent. That's why I went in reverse chronological order, and let's save the best for last. I mean, that's just a fantastic acquisition. And you could see the excitement just light up with investors, because it comes with 7 clinics. So right away, it's going to be revenue accretive. It's going to be cash flowing and all that. But what was really stunning was a lot of companies say, oh, we're going to expand. You know, we're going to take this model. But you made it pretty clear that's an immediate thing that's happened. It's going to immediately expand throughout the GTA, Ontario, and then nationwide. Man, you know, what kind of plans do you have in place to become a real player in the in this clinic space?
Yeah, and thank you. We're really pleased with the transaction. We got the definitive agreements completely signed there the end of last week. We're wrapping up the rolling close requirements like literally as we speak. So, you know, there'll be some announcements coming in the next 48 hours, let's say. And if you look at the deal structure and you look at the plans that we have with Dr. Jordan Rabinowitz and Dr. Aviv Zimmerman, these are 2 young physicians. They've got great entrepreneurial instincts.
Yeah, clearly.
They've really put a nice model together. They've built a really interesting network of contacts, and we're leveraging that. You know, I haven't been in a position to talk about that prior to getting these announcements out, but as we start going through the coming weeks and months, we're going to be putting announcements out constantly. We have a goal to get to in excess of 30 clinics as fast as possible with the team. And if you look at the deal structure, you'll see that both of the doctors have back-end incentives to achieve these milestones. Milestone 1 is 10 additional, milestone 2 is 20 additional, milestone 3 is 30 additional, and so on and so forth. So they're hungry for that. We've got the capital runway to support anything that we need to do with these guys. And we're really going to push our agenda for not only our paramedical services, which is what the Momentum Health Group is right now, but also crossing over into paramedical services and figuring out how to join those up into one center or in a location together. Some cases standalone, some cases kind of what I call a clinic within a clinic or a clinic within a facility partner. So we've got a couple of different programs that we'll be bringing to market, but you know, we're just thrilled that we could get this transaction to where it is prior to year end, get it on the books in 2020, and get a full year of that revenue stream in 2021 and beyond. It's going to be nothing but accretive for us. It's going to give us a foundation. It's going to give us the ability to start to accelerate our work on mental health as well, because we're a clinic. We're great at managing clinics, great at managing patients, great at managing physicians, and we know that these types of services are so important. We know that technology and how technology is impacting healthcare is crucially important, and you're going to see a lot more coming from us on that topic as we get into the first quarter. And then we'll be excited to start to talk about how we add in our mental health and well-being capabilities with therapists and practitioners and novel new treatment options that will be able to come to market because we have the physicians, because we have the clinics, because we have the patients, because we have the data. So more coming on that topic also.
Yeah, and that's what makes this partnership, this acquisition, almost like a partnership, right? They have this fantastic model. They've tried it, tested it, proved it. But, two entrepreneurial doctors, and I know, right? We all know what it's like to try and grow and maintain your business. You're trying to grow, but try and maintain your business. It's very difficult to do. You're scrambling for money. So here comes this great partnership, this acquisition now, in which Empower is going to provide the cash it needs to expand. Plus, what people don't realize, that's what we're going to talk about now, the sales and marketing expertise, the CRM expertise, all the operational efficiencies you need to create to take something from a small business to a massive business. And it looks like it's going to be a big winner. It's clear to me it's going to be a big winner. It's only a case of degree, not a case of if.
We feel we're very bullish on it as well. We really, I believe in both the doctors. We're giving them, things that they just didn't really have, in their arsenal at this point in time.
No.
And I can't wait to see what they do with the additional resources.
They proved themselves to be fantastic entrepreneurs. You don't get up to the size they got to, right? You got to have brains, you got to have some guts and some real work ethic. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do with you. So let's finish off with that, Steve. You got a ton of new investors. Look, just putting up the notice about this interview, just giving notice to everybody on one social media channel, just on Twitter. I can't even count other ones because obviously that message spreads pretty quickly. There were 7,000 impressions on just that notification. So
right,
the world is watching, and there are definitely new people who are watching. I'm going to ask you to take your humble hat off for a minute and a half, because I'm not asking you to brag about you, but I really want people to understand that what I see, and I want you to tell them, is I've been in this business for 23 years. We've had hundreds of clients, a lot of great clients, really great, smart people. And some people weren't clients who had really intelligent people running them, and I respected them and so on and so forth. But you're the first Six Sigma CEO I've ever seen in the small cap space. And that's a pretty incredible designation. You're basically a 7th degree black belt of, in the world of CEOs. And I won't take away your thunder. Talk to us about how that came about, where you got your training, the kind of projects you've led, and why you at the helm of Empower should give all the new people at home real great optimism to watch what you're going to do with partnerships, acquisitions, and it's almost $7 million in cash, and George by your side over the next couple of years.
Well, thank you, George. I appreciate that. And the Six Sigma certifications came from my many years at GE Capital, and it was I joined in the Jack Welch era, was there when it converted over to the Jeff Immelt era. It is a tough place to get into, and it's tough when you're there. It's definitely was a hard driving culture, not for everybody, but for me, I thrived in that culture. And you have to have thick skin. You have to work hard. I was able to secure. They have a rating system, which runs from 3 is fantastic. It's out of 5. 4 less so, 5, that you're probably getting moved out. 2 is unreal, and 1 is, top of the top. And I was fortunate to get a 1 rating in my time at GE. And my last posting with them, I was the CEO of United Kingdom. And, it just got me exposure, earlier on in my corporate career. And I've never forgotten it. And, whether it's cultural, work ethic, the attention to detail, not flying at 30,000 feet trying to run your business, but getting down in the details and rolling up your sleeves with your team members so what's going on. I watched that in my time with Roger Penske at United Auto Group. I was just so fortunate I was Senior Vice President of Financial Services for the public company. And, a legendary icon of business. And this is a gentleman who did not fly around at 30,000 feet. He was in every ounce of detail, and was so astute and so switched on and had such a thirst for information. So I have these sort of ideals and organizations and mentors in my time that I know is translating. It's translating to Empower, where this has taken perseverance. This has taken sacrifice to get to where we are, not knowing what the outcome could be. But I can tell every shareholder, as I'm now the largest shareholder, is I'm not going to stop until it's done, whatever that is. And we're not there. We have a long way to go.
Oh yeah, we're 3 to 5 years from where it ultimately lands.
Yeah,
but you've been there. You're not George, who's okay, good entrepreneur, has had some really good success, but I've never seen, being responsible for the United Kingdom. I've never been under a team at General Electric that is either rewarding you for greatness or showing you the door if you can't get the job done. So you've acted at the biggest levels, under the biggest pressure cookers, and come out top of the class. And I've never seen that before. And that's why, and by the way, for everyone at home, I've watched it firsthand, because when Steve got called in, a Agoracom guy had called in around the same time, said, this company Empower is a disaster. We got rid of the management team. We brought in this Steve McCauley guy, but he's going to need help on communications because he's going to have his hands full just trying to turn around this mess. And I've watched it firsthand for everyone at home. And it's been so good to watch that it's made me a better entrepreneur. Just by watching Steve, that hasn't happened often. So I want to say that.
George. Yeah, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And, always do keep in mind, however, I've been fortunate in the acquisitions that have come in, people that have, that we've been able to hire and attach to us. Dr. Jordan and Dr. Aviv are 2 perfect examples of, great young people that I can't wait to have on my leadership team, helping drive this every day. So it's not just, me, of course, it takes a team. And I'm so proud of our team members and what they do, because I just know they are sacrificing and working hard. We are not 9-to-5ers. My days are 15-hour days all the time, because that's what it takes right now to get it done. And so we'll keep getting it done because there's too much at stake. I see bigger markets for us in the future. I see much, much higher valuations coming. We feel like we really have a clear vision of how we're getting there. Now it's execution. And that's my commitment to our shareholders and followers, is continued execution.
And I'm not going to add anything to that. That was perfect. Steve, thanks so much.
Thank you, George.
You've got a couple of days of family time up there, and yet you took, I don't know, how 45 minutes, maybe a little longer, to be doing this for the benefit of everyone at home. And I know everyone at home, A, is going to say thank you, B, congratulations on a fantastic year, and C, can't wait to see what you're going to deliver in the next 12 months with all this behind you. And you've got the support of everybody. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, George. Really appreciate it.
You've been watching, or you've been listening by podcast, to Steve McCauley. He's CEO of Empower Clinics, as you know, trading on the CSE under the stock symbol CBDT. For our friends in the US, EPWCF, And for friends in Europe, on Frankfurt under 8EC, there's not much more I can say. You've watched or you've listened to what Steve had to say. All you have to do now is your due diligence. If you've got questions, get to the Empower website, take a look, do some more due diligence. And something I'm going to strongly advise, especially unfortunately, as we're going to the holidays now and people are getting together a little less parties, and there's going to be more time at home. Enjoy watch the last 3 interviews that we've done with Steve, to see what we've talked about, what he's talked about he'll deliver, and what he's delivered. And that's probably the best due diligence you're going to do. And hopefully you discovered your next great, amazing small cap, not just for 2021, but for the next 3 years. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Really appreciate it. We don't take the time for granted. Have a great day. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody, because we're probably not going to talk to you again in the next couple of days. And have a great day.